Right, my name's Bruce Norval. I'm a victim of the worst medical disaster in the history of the NHS, and unsurprisingly, I'm pissed off. You see, after 3 decades of campaigning to get to the truth about what has happened to haemophiliacs, we have a government who has quite shamelessly used other victims who have been infected through blood against us to try and hide the full, complete, horrible truth about how haemophiliacs were used as lab rats on the NHS, and that cannot be allowed to stand. There is an awful lot wrong with this. All victims, whether they're whole blood or haemophiliac, deserve recognition, but the human rights violations, the experiments, the illegal holding of tissue samples still to this day to test for new emerging diseases are all violations of our rights, all violations that are uniquely distinguished by one horrific fact, that the individuals that are caught up in this are caught up in this because they are genetically different from everybody else. Whether this is an accidental or deliberate genocide, the full horror of placing little boys in the firing line for known diseases that by 75 were known to kill was unforgivable. It's shameless to think you can walk away with that, casting a few pounds back. Victims have had decades suffering. As a haemophiliac, our lives were turned upside down the moment HIV hit. But the truth is, most of us were sick long before then. My first infection probably happened when I was 3-year-old. As a baby, I was already sick through the muck that was being pumped into my arms from blood that was collected in Scottish prisons, American prisons, recovered blood from dead psychiatric patients in Russia. Yes, dead psychiatric patients in Russia. The fact that we were inducted into an observation experiment in direct violation of the Nuremberg Code in 1969 universally by merit of our genetic condition and exposure to a blood product tells you an awful lot about the lack of value that was placed upon our lives. Please take the time to get interested in the horror story that is haemophilia. We didn't just get infected with one virus. We didn't get infected with 2 viruses. Currently, Scottish blood transfusion is owning up to 70 pathogens, because it's not just viruses. There are antigenic compounds, there was plaster dust in some of it, and then there's prions. That's why most of us can't get proper medical treatment anymore. Haemophilia was in the front line for every bastard disease for the last half century. And we are expected to walk away with a pat in the head and a half-truth history where the government's going, "It was us," when we know it's all a lie. I call on the artistic community, on journalists, on politicians of good conscience to not allow this lie to stand, to make sure that one group of victims are not used to scandalously cover the horror that was inflicted on another. Both deserve respect and treatment that is becoming of a civilised nation. But the way haemophiliacs have been treated is more than a scandal. It is bloody criminal. And I fully mean bloody criminal. We live in shameless times where little babies were injected with factor to see how long it took them to turn yellow. I've seen the paperwork. I've seen the experimentals. We live in times where a factory that failed its inspection for 30 years relied on Crown immunity to cover for its lack of hygiene. It is little wonder that all of us were infected. It's perhaps miraculous that there is still 2/5 of us left in Scotland. Miraculous is probably exactly the term. I think before we're all gone, for any hope of the term civilised being applied to this nation, this Scotland, this Britain. We need to be recognised. Our unique role in medicine, the canaries in the proverbial coal mine, deserve to be recognised. Stop lying to those who are dying. Thank you.